Alors, today we're going to be talking about chef.
Welcome back to today's podcast. This is episode 3 of Lost in Conversation with your hosts, Nolan and Garrett.
Hello.
Today we're going to be talking about the film Chef, one of the greatest movies about cooking in our modern age. But before we start, Nolan, you were telling me a story before we started rolling here about your dad this morning.
Yeah, he had a surgery this morning about as for his vision. It was I don't know what the technical surgery procedure is called, but it was I think they replaced his lenses in his eyes so he could see better.
Interesting.
Quite.
Yes. And how was that drive home from?
It was really a smooth drive. I mean, he was still a little bit out of it. Oh, I hit the mic.
Good job.
Hey Ryan, you gotta fix this in post. Anyways, and so the ride was actually really smooth coming back. He was a little bit out of it, obviously, just recovering from surgery. I had to go pick him up from wherever the surgery place is. It was off of I don't know what I'm gonna say, but it was off of Agora Road, probably.
Is it though?
Yeah, it was. It was on the way to LA Fitness.
On the way to LA Fitness.
And then it was just off one of those roads.
Of Agora Road.
Yeah.
All right.
Isn't that Agora?
Yeah, it should be Agora.
Yeah, Agora.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Well.
This part will probably just get clapped.
Will it? Because we don't pay Ryan.
Hey, Ryan? Ryan is our...
New intern.
Also... What is the word? The associate producer?
Yeah, producer. Executive producer has...
Executive producer. Working pro bono.
Yes.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are still looking for sponsors. So, Dollar Shave Club, Manscaped, Hims,
Raid Shadow Legends.
Anybody.
We're not desperate.
We're not desperate, but it'd be cool.
It'd be cool.
I mean, we have, obviously, if you've seen our first 2 podcasts, we probably know you by first name, but lots of viewers.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's
good ROI on these investments.
It always is, especially with us. Starting with Chef.
Chef, let's talk about that.
It probably one of the best movies in cooking that
I'd say,
I've seen in a long time.
Very, very approachable movie for learning on basics on how cooking happens.
And it's really heartwarming film too. I mean,
is. Great
a lot of times you have a cooking movie where it's real brutal. You know, these chefs are just always angry.
Yeah.
But it comes out at more of a personal side of a chef.
Definitely more of a welcoming movie, I'd say. Yeah.
Usually you see the French chef. You know, he's very
Just
stereotypical.
Swearing, lots of fires.
Where, you know, our main character, played by Jon Favreau, he comes off as a normal person. You know, someone he's just trying to do
very
his best.
Very relatable character.
And it's not his cooking, but it's actually the restaurant that he works for that's holding him back in the movie in the first act.
Yeah.
That he has to overcome.
Right.
And I think that's part of why he goes off on the food critic.
Yeah, the food critic was such a symbol in the movie as well.
I think
not to turn into like an English teacher or anything, but definitely a deeper meaning behind that character. You know?
'Cause I think on first glance you see him as someone who's just angry and just out to get people. But I wonder if maybe he's there to push someone, you know, to do better.
The food critic?
Yeah.
That's actually, in LA, there are tons of food critics that when they go to smaller developing restaurants, and if they don't appreciate the food, they just don't write reviews about it because they want to see the restaurant flourish and like turn into like something that more people will enjoy. So occasionally they give feedback to like the chef. They'd be like, hey, I won't write a review about it, just ripping you a new one. It'll just be like, maybe next time don't overcook everything I'm eating, you know?
It's not too much to ask for.
I'm not asking for much here, just make it edible.
I think, where we see that come full circle at the end of the movie where the food critic comes back
Right, as an
and
investor.
is an investor and loves John
Exactly.
Favreau's cooking.
Everybody can cook. This is a reoccurring theme. And if you would like to see it, feel free to leave a comment, shoot us a tweet, shoot us a DM on our Instagram page.
Hmm.
We can also host a cooking show, possibly, if you
We
would like
could.
that. We can.
We are expert
Garrett
chefs.
and I actually are very, I don't know what the word is, skilled, maybe?
Hmm.
Skilled
Expertise.
cooks. We can't call ourselves chefs. We did not go to school for that. We do have a respect for the culinary arts. And
Okay, chef.
whoa, chill it. But yeah, if you'd like to see that, feel free to drop a comment.
Yeah, no, we're always open to suggestions. And just getting back to the movie, how do you feel about the food truck trend of
The food truck trend.
the mid 2010s?
I loved the food truck trend because I used to go to the LACMA and the MAM. Is it the MAM or the Broad? The Broad. The Milwaukee Art
Can you
Museum is the
tell us what
MAM.
the LACMA is for those who
Los
don't know?
Angeles County Museum of Art
All right. So
is.
you're fond of art and that expression.
I do appreciate art.
Mm.
Some pieces more than others, but that's just with all art.
On a little bit of a tangent, you were recently at the Getty Villa
I
in
was at the
Malibu.
Getty Villa in Malibu. I was able to visit the school. Not the school. I was able to visit the villa
Hmm.
with my school, our university, which is now shut down because of COVID-19.
Shout
Um,
out.
shout out for the school.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. AO Waves, Pepperdine. Anyways, and so yeah, it was a great experience. We got to see the Getty's wonderful collection of Greek era sculptures. They also have Roman sculptures. They also have, I think, a little bit of Persian, Middle
They
Eastern.
have right now on display Assyrian wall panels.
Oh, I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that was going up when I was
It's been up
growing up.
for a few months now, and
Then it was definitely there
it'll
when I
be
was there.
it'll be there for about next year. And it's right when you walk in. Actually, it's just
Where?
when what I've been told, it's you go into the villa and you go left, and it's right there.
What part of the villa? It's kind of a larger villa.
It's not that big.
The Getty Villa.
It's okay. It's a decent
It's
size.
pretty. I'd say for a
It,
museum, it's on the smaller side, but for a villa in Malibu, it's rather large.
the land prices, I think, when Getty built it, were probably a little cheaper
Oh, you think?
than they are
I
now.
think he also didn't he built the Getty Center and the Getty Villa strictly for tax write-offs.
I thought the Getty Villa was his house.
Tax write-offs.
His house was a tax write-off.
That's the ultimate ploy. You say it's a museum, but then you pay like instead of the whatever high land taxes there is, it's just like 5% of 50 years worth of stuff. And then you're like, "Aight."
Mm. When you were at the Getty Villa, was there any particular art piece that really stood out to you?
Yeah, I actually saw the Achilles tomb.
Mm.
That was really cool. It's I didn't measure it specifically, but I'd say it's about 6.5 feet wide, 3.5 feet deep. I don't know why I'm half footing it, but
Hmm. I want to be exact.
yeah, just close estimate. It's maybe be about 5 feet tall. It's really large, and the detail of the sculpting of the sides is magnificent.
Mm.
There's like 50 plus people just carved in the side of this box thing, and there's horses, there's arrows, there's spears. It's like a war scene going on in there. It's pretty sick.
Mm. There's another piece there, right? It was a room, small room, and not a lot of people would go in there, right? You're mentioning?
Yeah, actually, also one more detail about the tomb. The top of the tomb is more detailed triclinium type thing. So the triclinium is a section of the villa of a Roman villa where
Mm.
they would have couches for eating. So like the classic Roman eating a grape on a couch type of situation. And they had that perked up on top of this tomb, and that was pretty cool to see. It looked like a big old pillow, but when I touched it, I got yelled at. But
I'd
the
imagine so.
pillow made of stone, not soft. So now, if you want to touch it, I'll tell you this from personal experience: it is not pillow-like. It is indeed still a rock that looks like a pillow.
That's good to know.
Is
Um, Going off of the villa, what were we talking about with Chef? Looking back on it, I really can't remember.
um, well,
We're talking about the food truck trend, weren't we?
oh, the food
We're
truck
talking about the
trend.
LACMA.
Oh, that's what happened. Yeah, we talked about the LACMA and then we talked about the art. Okay, so yeah, back to food trucks. Food trucks, I think, are a great way for more people to be able to try to sell their food without investing too much capital.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if this statistic is still accurate today, but I remember, I think my sophomore year of high school, they were saying that like 30+%, it was high 30%, I'll say conservative, high 30% of restaurants fail within like the first 3 months of opening.
Hmm.
So I feel like that's just because people don't like trying new foods.
Are you saying you can't go out of business if they can't catch you?
That is the beauty of a truck. Tax evasion,
IRS can't catch
evasive
you.
maneuvers. If you handbrake a taco truck off of the 101 entrance, there is zero
Wait,
chance.
let's back it up.
The
Just
truck?
the 101
Well,
entrance?
I guess any entrance of a freeway. If you're going off of it in a taco truck, note how I say off the entrance. Like, there's no way the cops are following you at that point.
None of what you just said made any sense.
Well, off as in you're going the wrong direction because you're,
Mm-hmm.
again, avoiding the
McSkilleting it.
IRS. Mix-skilleting it for, that's blunt.
For the those who don't know, you guys can Google that. We want to keep a child-friendly podcast here, obviously, guys. And if you want to know the story of McSkillet, you guys can look that up. He used to be a CS:GO gambler back in the day. Could talk about that for a while.
But anyways, back to the food trucks. I think it's a great opportunity for people that want to express their culinary tests, I guess, culinary adventures.
Sound kind of iffy on that.
Huh?
The probably the best food truck I've ever come to is grilled mac and cheese.
Yes, I've had the grilled mac and cheese food truck before.
If you haven't had grilled mac and cheese,
It is very good.
you're not living.
It is very good, and that's a quasi understatement.
If you get the coronavirus and you've never had
Grilled mac and cheese.
grilled mac and cheese,
I'd say honestly, bump quarantine. You're
Get some.
probably gonna make it, but bump quarantine and go buy some. Cause when in doubt, go out.
We learned that when we were in Hawaii last, actually.
Yeah.
If you don't know if you guys can go out, just do it.
That's what the lifeguard man's had a sign posted that said, "If in doubt, don't go out." But us being the literal
Intellectuals.
genius
Mhm.
that we are, we read it as maybe we're just illiterate.
I think they were using reverse psychology on us.
That's what it was. They were trying to they were trying to say, "Hey, you won't," but we did.
We called their bluff.
We called their bluff. Anyways, we used to have 3 people on this podcast, but the waves were very gnarly.
The sign was true.
And
We're gonna have to cut out those coughs, aren't we?
well, I coughed away. Was it loud?
Oh, it's loud.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll. Hey Ryan, another one of your jobs. Maybe just put in some nature music over the coughs.
Just real quick, just nature music.
Just dee dee dee, and just like transition.
So, going off from grilled mac and cheese, and it's not hard to make. It's just like making normal grilled cheese, but instead of just American cheese, you add
Mac
in there, and sometimes you can add pieces of bacon. Obviously, a lot of butter.
I went to the grocery store last night following the announcement of the staying home is safer policy, and they were kind of cleaned out, but the butter, there was plenty of butter.
Really?
Plenty of butter. And the pancetta. Do you know what pancetta is?
Like cheese?
No, it's a thick cut bacon, essentially. Very, very good. If you ever want.
So just ham at that point.
Well, not. Oh, it's the same. I think I'm quasi, again with the word quasi, sure about this, but I think it's from the same portion of the pig that the bacon is made from, so the tummy area
Mm-hmm. The
and
pork belly, would you say?
the tummy area.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the oh yeah, but I don't know what I was going with that. But the pancetta with beans, pancetta, you put the pancetta in a pan, low medium heat. Just
Mm-hmm.
let it slowly cook up, let the fat really render, and then you add in maybe a half tablespoon of garlic, just minced garlic.
Mm-hmm.
Let that cook up. Boom, whole thing of beans. Boom. Just let it reduce for like 30 seconds, and then
You know what might also be a nice option for the grilled mac and cheese
what's that?
is using that pancetta,
Pancetta.
almost like a diced
Yeah, it's
pan.
diced
Yeah,
pancetta. You can dice
so
that pancetta.
diced pancetta, and then put it within the mac, and then into the grilled cheese.
That would make it very, very rich. Because the mac and cheese is a traditionally rich meal, and
Mm-hmm.
the carbs from the mac helps cut it.
How would the garlic help with the if you put that in the grilled mac and cheese? How do you think that would?
I'd say it'd be very powerful. You got it's great, great power comes great responsibility.
But
Garlic is a very strong.
I feel like you would be subduing a little bit when you put it in like marinara sauce.
Hmm.
So you'd have your grilled mac and cheese,
Oh, like dip it
and
in the
then dip it in
marinara.
marinara.
Okay, but we got a lot going on here. We got
So let's go down our ingredients list. So you got
what type of loaf of bread are you thinking? Like white,
uh rye, or
a rye,
Canadian.
Canadian.
Yeah,
I guess yeah, just a thick cut rye.
and that's
That way
nice.
it'd be nice and soft in the middle, but then
Mhm.
you got time for crispiness on the edges.
Yeah, you want that.
Genius.
So you're gonna get that Canadian rye bread if you can get Canadian rye bread.
Especially nowadays, that might just become an impossibility of a commodity.
Yeah, I mean I'm sure it's not in Canada.
Unless you're in Canada, in which case, feel free to send that over.
We will always take rye bread.
Free rye bread. We will plug whatever you want us to plug. Back to
Mm.
the sponsorship.
But so you're gonna have that Canadian rye bread. Add a
Hmm.
little bit of probably about 3 or 4 pieces of American cheese. You really want that nice and cheesy. And
Hmm.
then your mac doesn't have to be as cheesy because it's gonna start
At this point, we'd
gluing
have to
in.
worry a little bit about salt
Mm.
because the cheese is typically a very salty thing.
Yeah, but
And if you
your marinara
add,
is gonna be cooling that down a lot.
possibly, or when you buy the sandwich, it comes with lemonade. Well, maybe
Mm,
not lemonade.
I don't think lemonade, like an iced tea, something bitter.
Yeah, something that cuts it, but
Hmm.
not like. You gotta think about that. What would go good with a mac and cheese sandwich for a drink?
I mean, I would always go with iced tea.
Well,
That's
you
me
drink
though.
iced tea all day.
Yeah, I like that it's be bitter. It be somewhat subdue the palate every time you take a bite. It'd be something new.
It needs to be mint, something with mint in it.
You know, I was thinking mint like juleps before, but I was thinking when you eat and then you have a mint
It'll
after,
it'll completely ruin your palate.
it ruins the palate and it just
What's
doesn't.
something that's like a palate cleanser that's also not very. Oh, got it.
Coffee,
What coffee? You can't just have coffee. I guess you could, but I was just thinking like a sparkling water, like one of
like a
those.
tonic,
No, 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 not like a tonic. Like what are they?
Perrier.
Perrier, not a Perrier either. Perrier is a very rough flavor. They have at the Whole Foods in Malibu. They have a like a lemon lime sparkling water. It's just like what are they called? Like the
Seltzers,
yeah the I don't even know what the name of the
a White Claw.
LaCroix. Like LaCroix. It's like a non-spiked White Claw. I didn't want to say White Claw because I don't know why, but yeah, it's a
I'd say
non-spiked White Claw. It's like a LaCroix or any other sparkling
mm,
water. So that
what
would be
about
perfect.
a natty light seltzer?
Maybe even a natty light. I mean, honestly, a White Claw would probably
Mm-hmm.
just a watermelon White Claw would absolutely be the perfect accomplice to this sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't get past the cheese.
So cheese,
What type of nude are we going to be using in this mac?
a small macaroni.
A small macaroni.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a type of nude? Macaroni. Hey Siri, what does a macaroni noodle look like?
It's like macaroni and cheese.
Macaroni is indeed a nude type.
What did you think mac and cheese stood for?
Well, I didn't. I thought macaroni was, I guess, in retrospect. That is a very stupid. No, thank you, Siri. You can stop. I think that is a very not bright, not a very bright comment on my part.
Mm-hmm.
I actually never thought of macaroni as a noodle. I thought it was just a dish.
Just thought it was the dish.
Yeah.
So like when I say, "Oh, I'd love some lasagna," you just thought that was the dish.
Well, lasagna is the nude.
Yes, just like macaroni is
That
the
yeah,
nude.
fudge, man. Yeah, I
Oh, I'd
guess.
like some, you know, rigatoni.
Well, I know there's different types of nudes, Garrett. It's the
I'd like some bolognese lasagna or what? See, bolognese isn't a nude.
bolognese.
It's the
Isn't that the meat?
it's the meat. Yeah, it's the beef.
The beef. Beef.
Um, so we're gonna go with the smaller macaroni noodle.
Definitely, yeah.
Nothing
Because
too big.
if it's too big, also we have to be concerned with the thickness of the sandwich because you gotta. It's the frustrating thing is when the sandwich is too big, you can't even bite it, right?
You can always it's gooey. You can squish this thing down. It's bread
But then
and
you're gonna lose
cheese.
half the insides. Oh, give them a
No,
fork with it, a spork, not a fork,
spork.
a spork.
Because you're probably gonna be eating this at like a fairgrounds, most likely.
They're gonna or we'll park outside like some 3 Michelin-star restaurant, have our
Mhm.
line, just kind of go through their door, and they're just gonna be like with their angry chef, be like, "Oh, you can't have these outside." They're French, by the way.
It's
And
petit
then
trois.
it's Petit Trois. Petit Trois is a pretty solid place in LA.
Mm.
It's one of my favorite French places. They have smacking breakfasts, awesome lunches, and banging dinners.
I went once. I got the cheeseburger.
The
It was
Big Mac.
yeah. It was really rich.
Yeah,
Uh,
Garrett loves rich foods, and it's
I was
French food. Every French food's rich. They use like 3 pounds of butter in every meal.
it was crazy because I wasn't able to finish it, and I'm able to finish some pretty big burgers.
Mhm.
If you know what In-N-Out is, or from the California region, I on a regular basis get 4x4s, and cheese fries.
So four by
And
four is just 4 patties, 4 beef. So
four
it's
four patties and four cheeses, not four patties.
4 patties, 4 beefs, 4 patties, and then 4 cheeses. So that's a total of 12.
The biggest I've actually had before was a 6x6, but I think I could definitely take on the 8x8.
Mm.
Nice protein gain, clean, lean calories,
Eh,
and
eh.
getting back to chef. It feels like we
Yeah.
haven't talked about chef
So
in a while.
now passing the food truck idea, I love the way that they were able to utilize social media in this movie as well. From not that much of like a boomer was writing the movie.
hmm I really did like that how they were able to show the social media from a young kid's perspective and how
Yeah.
he would do it. Because I think now growing up is that somewhere how we were back then, and we were still trying to figure out how social media works.
Right.
I think we still are.
I mean, like, you definitely, people are all over the spectrum with that, where it's
Mhm.
like you still see the kids posting 42 selfies for their hour-long gym workout, but then it's like you can be more respectful with that, and you can just post like one boomerang saying gym time.
I mean, in average, I post about maybe 2 to 3 photos a year. Recently,
I
I've
post,
been.
I think, one time a year on my Instagram. It's quite dead.
I used to be about one time a year, and now recently I said, all right, I've got some new people that I know. You know, I'll post some more. I'm doing some more things with big groups. So
Yeah, I just feel like posting on Instagram for like is just whack because it's like, yeah, they got to do a lot of it or nada.
I mean, I know some people that will post just multiple times a day,
Yeah.
every single time they're.
Yeah, like the
they-
influencers, like they get paid to do it, but they post multiple times a day. Some
Mm.
of them.
But I know a lot of people that just I know aren't getting paid.
Oh, they're
They just post, "Oh, I'm at my brunch. This is my new
Are you
outfit."
talking like stories or like posts?
No, like posts.
Oh boy.
Yeah, even back when we were in high school, I'd see people that we would know that would just post 3, 4 times a day,
Wow.
and I just don't get it, And they'd have different outfits.
Like 3 times a day.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
I bet what it is that they save up all these photos,
Oh, and then they
and
just
then
dump them.
it's like, oh, missing Hawaii from
I've seen
8 years
those.
ago.
I've seen those where it's like, oh my gosh, take me back, and it's like, you came back last week. We get it.
Yeah, I've seen Sundays where it's like months old, and
Ah,
you're like, oh, I remember when you're posting when you were there.
right.
It's 2 years later. You don't need to keep posting it. You've been back.
It's been 4 years, Becky. Golly.
Call out to
Not
Becky.
calling out Becky. We don't. It was just a stereotypical name, Becky.
I can't.
Sorry to all the Beckys listening. We're not shooting shots. Please.
We are.
We'll make a sticker for you on our Snapchats, and you can be on our stories that we post every minute on.
But you don't know what our stories are, so.
But you gotta first follow me back, Becky.
Yeah. Oof. So, I think this movie has a lot of great actors in it. I mean, looking back on it, how they got Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, they got RDJ in there.
They got Sofia Vergara, I believe.
Sophia was in there.
Yeah.
She's a fantastic actor in that movie.
Fantastic. You know, she really gives it her all in that movie, and
I think she plays a very solid mother role, honestly, because we see how she has to manage her own what business was she running? I think it was an interior design business.
some kind.
And also she was handling the stress from her separation from her husband while still raising her child. And I think she does a very well-rounded job of balancing all that around.
And it seems like she's doing a pretty good job from the house they're living in L.A. And watching the movie for the first time, I was thinking Jon Favreau was probably the biggest idiot in the movie.
Oh.
Because he's separated with Sofia Vergara.
Oh.
And he must be blind.
Yes. I think also he had the assistant chef, John Leguizamo. I don't know how to pronounce that last name, but he's Martin in the movie. He is the guy that helped him with the Cubanos and making those around. He was like the guy that was in the truck with him and the kid.
Oh, I thought that was I think the acting all around is really good in this movie, and the fact that the production company was able to get them and still somehow turn a profit.
Right. Honestly, that's crazy. But also, we have yet to give it its dumpling rating.
That is true. I'd definitely, looking at it, and I'd give it about a 8.5 dumpling.
8.5 dumplings.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking 9, so 8.5. Take the average of the two. 8.75 dumplings.
8.75 dumplings. How, you may ask, you get 7.5 dumplings? You shave a little bit of the skin off the dumpling.
You just took nibbled off the top.
Mm-hmm. So it's not open
nibbled
yet.
the top of the xiaolongbao.
Mm-hmm. You know, looking back on how we rate movies, it almost seems like it'd be the opposite, where you'd only say, oh, there's only one dumpling left because you ate 9 of them because they were that good.
Or we could say it's how many you would order at a time.
Usually, xiaolongbao, the dumplings, would come out at 10 each.
Yeah, exactly.
One order is 10.
So you would eat 8.75 of the dumplings of the 10.
Well, that person that has to eat that 0.25 is not going to be very happy.
I don't know how they're going to consume that 0.25.
Just a little bit of
just
dough.
A little nibble off the top, and then you go, and then they're like, you can eat that?
No.
And you're like, I'm not bringing you back to lunch.
We don't pay for each other when we go to lunch.
That is true.
You know, that actually, before we end this podcast, I kind of want to talk about that. You know, when you go out with your friends, you're eating, and you're getting ready for the check, and they say, oh, let's split the check.
Right. Garrett, this is well above our pay grade, this conversation here. This has been going on since the invention of the check and the ability to split it.
But my issue is now with Venmo. We've gone to dinner with these friends of ours, and they will literally say, oh, I'll Venmo you it, but they don't take into account tax, the tip. They just look at their meal and they say, all right, I'll Venmo you for that. They don't take into fact the extra $8 that had to go into the tip and tax on their meal. You know?
Yeah. Quite frustrating, I could imagine.
Because they always say, oh, I'll just Venmo you, because they know they're going to get out of that.
I think, honestly, it is what it is, you know? I mean, not much we can do about it.
I think in the future, it's just, hey, learn how money works.
Right.
Because these people that we are talking about clearly don't
Possibly.
understand.
Possibly.
And I don't know, it's something that grinds my gears.
Something that grinds your gears.
Yeah. Is there anything that grinds your gears, Nolan?
I don't know, but I definitely know something that could help lower your grinding your gears, and that is Aunt Jemima's maple syrup.
Who could sponsor us?
Who could possibly sponsor us?
Mm-hmm.
Still up in the air for sponsors. This could be your time. We have plenty of time in this podcast to shamelessly plug anybody's content.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to pay us. If it's a cool thing, like maybe you make razors.
Mm-hmm. And you send them out monthly.
And you just send them out monthly. If you send us each a kit, yes, there are 2 of us. There will be needing 2 kits to shamelessly plug this. And then your name could be here. And then we can work from that.
That doesn't sound so bad.
Doesn't sound too bad. Or if maybe you want to have a Netflix movie about a podcast team.
We're great actors.
We are fantastic actors.
Mm-hmm.
We are also quite good looking. That's the beauty of the podcast. You don't know this. We might be 10s. I'm not saying we're not 10s.
What do you mean might?
I'm just saying we might be 10s.
Should we also tell the audience that we have a little bit of a bias to Chef? No.
I think that's good.
We're not legally bound to the movie.
What?
In any way.
We didn't produce any of these movies.
We didn't. Wink. So, I guess this will end our 3rd episode today.
3rd episode.
Well, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. Shoot emails to all these people we've been name dropping saying sponsor them. They're wonderful people. I listen to them every single day, even though there's only 3 episodes. Feel free to drop a follow on our Instas, drop a follow on our Snaps, drop a follow on our Spotify, drop a follow on anything.
We're now on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes.
Boom. Big day.
So give us a follow and have a good one.
Love you.
Ciao.
Bye. That was a good episode.
Yeah,
I think we touched base on
How long is that? Oh my god, He's just gonna end the episode. God, thank God.
It's like your FL Studios 5-minute free recording has come to the end. You're like,
Oh damn.
how long was it?